We are on another insanely good season of Chicago Med. And girl, you've been through your paces,
Yeah.
season 10. Where do we pick up emotionally with Sharon this season?
Well, I think the thing that we'll be dealing with at the beginning of the season is Goodwin's family. And of course, there's always something going on in the hospital. So that's always the first thing. But the lovely thing is you've met two of my children, you get to meet the third child, and my Bert is back. And so it's going to be some interesting things happening with the family.
Well, I recently spoke with Alan McDonald and we asked him about getting some heightened security, more security at the hospital, which he seemed to laugh off. So, just so you know, we tried our best.
Yeah, well, with Goodwin, I mean, after having the stalker, one would think that there would be more security. But I think we're just back to no, well, as normal as we can be.
Does she
That's all I can say.
does she feel a debt of gratitude towards Archer, or is it just back to like coworkers?
No, one of the things that I've been very focused on as far as Goodwin goes is that she's very professional. So the only person that there were only a couple of people that she spoke their first names. Daniel, Oliver Platt's character, and Maggie, because they knew each other over the years. But the doctors, she always refers to them as Doctor whoever, um, and Mr. She calls people Mr. and Ms. It's very important for me to do that. And so, what happened with Dean and I, as you noticed, we
Hmm.
call each other by first
First
names
names
now.
now.
So we've made a move towards knowing each other better. I mean, he saved her life, you know what I mean? So yeah, that caused for a more personal connection to him.
Well, everything is just incredible on this show. And Dr. Lennox plays a vital role in the administrative as well as a doctor. But she's dealing with a physical health matter as well. How does that affect Goodwin as well? And how she manages the hospital?
We haven't actually dealt, Goodwin and Lennox haven't actually dealt with that. I think they're actually seeing each other now in a very different light, if I could say anything without giving anything away. And the truth is I shoot the shows and then sometimes I forget. But what I do recognize is that we've made a connection because she'd always been very business, very focused, and now I think we're seeing her less that way, and so she and Goodwin, I think, are connecting as women, not so much as the heads of departments. So that I think that'll be interesting. I hope there's more of that. Uh, I love working with everybody on the show, so it would be lovely to see some scenes like that with Lennox and Goodwin.
Certainly fans love when Goodwin and Dr. Charles get to spend some time together, but were you looking forward to maybe sharing new scenes, which you touched on a little bit, maybe if you getting to work with Sarah Ramos more this season? Are there some other people you get to work more with this season that maybe surprised you or you were looking forward to?
Well, what was interesting is Luke Mitchell and I just had that conversation. When he first started, we were always having scenes together. And he made the comment the other day. It was because he was getting into a bit of trouble. But it's been a while since we've had scenes together. So We literally have just been talking about let's see these Cat Ripley and Goodwin have some connection this season. So hopefully that'll come up down the line.
You touched a bit on we're getting to meet Goodwin's third child this season. Are you able to tease maybe more a little bit about what the other aspects of her arc are coming into season 11?
No, I don't know if I can. Some of it I don't know, but it's a lovely actor, and I'll never say his name right, so I won't destroy it. But his first name is Benga, and he's I mean the when the children were together, all three of them, it was really family. I really enjoy.
Enge Akinagbe?
Yes, yes. Thank you, because you say it better than me. And with the name like Epatha, you never want to destroy someone's name. I think they got along beautifully. It was just so lovely to have the three of them there, and Bert was there. So, uh, Alan said that we'd be seeing a little more of Banga. So I'm looking forward to that.
I recently read an article where you sort of gushed a little bit, or at least appreciated Alan a little bit more.
Oh no, totally. I absolutely adore Alan McDonald. I mean, he's an extraordinary writer. A lovely person. He's kind, he's collaborative, which is really lovely. And it's great when you meet people in a situation where you've been around and they haven't, and you feel like they were always there. That's kind of how I feel about Alan. I adore him. I do. He's a great guy. He really is. Yeah, I'll gush about him because he writes for me too.
That's what I was getting to, is that this season he's added a little bit of Epatha into Goodwin as well. What does that mean to you?
Well, I just loved that he hears me. Uh, I've been doing this a long time, and I think Alan is probably the first writer, and specifically head writer, who really got me. He really gets me. And so it's just been such fun working with him and the team that he's brought in. We still have two folks who've been with us, Meredith Freeman and Stephen Hootstein, who've been with us from the beginning. And he's just brought in this great team of writers. And I think that's why the show has changed so much, is because of his leadership and the people that he's brought in. But you'll never hear me say one awful thing about Alan. Not he even has a good sense of humor. You know what I mean? So yeah, I have been having quite a bit of fun this season 10, definitely, and season 11 is starting off quite well.
All right, what were your thoughts when you found out who the baby daddy was for?
I don't know if Goodwin knows yet.
Okay, well, what's Epatha thinking?
I think it's a hoot. I love it. I love it that, this character who's older is having this moment. I love it. Plus, you're not going to hear me say anything bad about anybody I work with on this show. It really is a great group of people, and Steven Weber is one of them.
I was
And
gonna
I know when my brother found out that he was going to be on the show, my brother Zephyr went nuts because he's a big fan of Stevens, and he's a great person.
How many jokes has Steven made about he'd be like 70 when the kid is like in high school?
Well, he's got a great sense of humor about that, and I just loved the first time, the episode where I think it was either our first or second episode where we found out that he was the father, and just how the ED dealt with it. You know, Doris, nurse Doris, who always has something to say about whatever it is, and the names that they give them is there's a word for that when man something manstead when you give. Do you know the name for that?
No, I'm not.
I think there's a name for it, or at least Nurse Doris has, when they combine names of
Oh,
characters.
ships. Okay.
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yes, when you ship someone, that's
Oh,
their relationships where you want them
oh
to.
shit. Okay. Well, I'm learning all these new words from the young people I'm working with. But so it was great because Doris had her remarks. She came up with her ship name. And then when Trini realized she had made a mistake, thinking it was Luke's baby. I mean, I love the humor that was around that. And I'm really fascinated to see how they deal with each other now. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot we don't know yet. They might know because they're talking with Alan,
Right.
but I'm talking with Alan about Goodwin. So we don't always
Ships
know
pass in
what's
the night.
going on. Yeah, until we sit down at a read through and we go, oh, okay.
Okay, so that's part of the storyline. That's
Yeah,
what your
yeah.
storyline is.
It's pretty funny when that happens, when you sit down and you get the script and you go, oh, that's where that's going, because you're truly focused on your character and what's happening
Sure.
and where you were and where you're going. So it's always fascinating to see where these other characters are going.
Well, circling back to the finale of last season, and you're bleeding, you're dragging yourself across this floor. First of all, what was it like for you physically to do that scene?
It was great. I mean, I enjoyed it. I got to do some stunts
Yes.
and I did most of my stunts, which was kind of cool. And I just had great fun doing it. And um, yeah, it was impressive. Friends of mine were like, "Okay, Miss Thing, you're doing okay for an old gal."
Only they can say that.
Indeed, indeed. But it's true. I mean, I'll be 73 this year, and to be flipping people and punching and
I'm
all of
saying you're
that,
dragging yourself across this floor, ma'am.
it was great fun. It was great fun. Yeah. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. I was tickled when I got the script. I was like, really? You're going to let me do a stunt? And I had a stunt person, but I was like, no, I think I could do this. Let me do this. So it was fun.
Certainly with the likes of Oliver Platt and Steven Weber on set, it's not hard to slip out of character for you at this point? Question mark.
Um, I don't know if I slip out of character, but I think that you see more of that with I call him Chucky, with Dr. Charles. He calls me Goody, I call him Chucky. And I think if you do, what I love about it is you really do get to see two people who've known each other a long time, who are there for each other, who don't take any shit from each other. You have to come to me with the truth. And I do appreciate that over these 10 seasons, we have really seen the friendship of Charles and Goodwin. And in person, he's like he's a good guy. He really is a good guy.
Now, can it get you on the bear or into
Oh
some re or
right.
into some restaurants when you're in Chicago, them fancy places?
Yeah. He's taken me to a couple of fancy places
Okay.
in Chicago. So yeah, because he's a foodie. His brother, I think, used to write for the Times, a food article for the Times. So he's been around that whole food thing for years, and he has really good taste in meals.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am, you have been a part of some iconic Dick Wolf series. I mean, I don't know how long you played Anita Van Buren, but she is legendary in the Dick Wolf world. What does it mean to you to be a part of his trajectory in the industry? And also, is there a role you're not willing to play for him at this
You
point?
know, the thing that we just talked about this recently, I've done over 629 episodes with Dick Wolf.
Yes,
And I think that, you know, what I appreciate is that he appreciates me. And you don't get anywhere in this business without someone believing in you. And Dick Wolf has believed in me for 32 years.
absolutely.
So I ain't
Good work
mad
for
at
you.
him.
You do good work for him, ma'am. You are insanely
But
talented
you know,
dramatic actress. If you haven't told yourself lately, and you haven't been reminded lately, you got the goods. You
well,
can act,
but
ma'am.
that's the point I'm making.
Okay,
That there has to be someone who sees you and
absolutely.
who sees your ability. And that's Dick. I try every opportunity I get as I stumble to say the names of the people who changed my life. And you know, the first person who did that was the choreographer George Faison, who gave me my first job in New York. That led to me doing other things with Woody King Jr. at his theaters, and Meg Simon, who's a casting person, saw me do an off Broadway show, and she cast me in The Piano Lesson, the original show on Broadway. And Joe Stern, who was one of the producers of Law and Order, who was a big theater person, came to see the show. I did my first Law and Order. So people see who you are, they like your work, and they help you along. And all of these people took me to Dick, who has kept me working for 32 years. And there are other people who have seen me over the years that have hired me. So they recognize the work that I do, and I appreciate them. So whenever I have the opportunity, I say their names.
Any chance we'll be getting to see you in theater again soon? Maybe on a upcoming hiatus you have? Christmas break, you
Hopefully.
could sneak something in.
Yeah, hopefully, because it's been a while. I had gotten into the habit of every other season doing some theater, but the pandemic sort of put a stop to that, and now I'm looking to do another play with the director I met on Law and Order, Michael Pressman. So yeah, we're looking for something, and it won't be in this season, but it'll be 26, 27 season. I'll be back on stage.
At this point, do more people reach out to you about Chicago Med than they do Law and Order? I mean, you were an iconic series member for many, many, many. And I'm going to try to rein in the many's, but it was a
17
great run.
seasons. Yeah, it was 17 seasons, and it's a combination now. Like even walking in the other day, I went to see Liberation on Broadway with a friend, and I was walking through Times Square, and a couple of cops were like, "Hey, Lou," so
Oh,
so it still happens because there are people that's all they do is they watch the reruns of Law and Order.
it's a comfort show.
Listen,
From the
I have,
pandemic, that's what you did.
yes, my cardiologist, the first cardiologist I had, who's retired now, Dr. Konofsky, he literally uh, he will text me about a Law and Order because he's working out and watching Law and Order. So people still watch it. So there's a combination. There are new folks who love and they say hello. But yeah, Law and Order, you can't get away from it. It's a part of my history, so I'm cool with it.
What does it mean to you then to be a part of so many special moments in people's lives? As I said, you have a long-lasting career. Do you have a favorite project, I should ask, that you've been a part of over the years?
You know, everything I do, I kind of learn something from it. So whatever I take from that, you know, the I started in the theater, so whenever I have the opportunity to do theater, you know, I'm overjoyed. And you know, my television career has been great. I've met some really lovely people. I've worked with some great actors. So, you know, I could probably take a little something from everything that I've done, either an actor that I worked with or the role that I played, or maybe even what it meant, you know, globally for cancer care or women's rights. You know, I love all of it. I've been really lucky.
You have quite a fandom behind you, from the Shy Hearts to the wonderful work you've done on Law and Order, and every single piece of your career has just been exceptional. What would you like to say to people who do find themselves supportive of the work you do and they know your name, they recognize you when you hop in a role? Like I know an Epatha role when I see her, and she's just out. You just
The
I've
coolest
gushed
thing,
I've gushed a lot, but you're a very, very good actress,
but
and
the
the
coolest
dramatic
thing,
work you do is exceptional.
but listen, the coolest thing about it is what happened to me just about a half an hour ago. I'm sending a package to myself to Chicago, and I was walking down the street. I live in Harlem, and I'd come from the UPS store, and there was a guy sitting in a car, and he goes, "Hey, Miss Merkerson," and I turned around. And he said, "I just wanted to say hello. I love your work." And that means the world to me. Like people know me in the neighborhood. There are some ladies that live across the street that can never remember my name. So they call me Law and Order whenever they see me. Hey, Law and Order, how you doing, girl? You know, that's what I love is that people realize that it's something I do, but I just live in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So it's those moments that really mean a lot to me.
Oh, you are so good. I mean, I'm telling you, you could be Ayo Edebari's mom. We don't see her on the show. Oliver, come on. No, just,
Funny.
but have you been working out on any other projects recently, or does Chicago Med take up most of your time?
Chicago Med is taking up the time. I'm also, like I said, I'm beginning a gut renovation of this apartment. And so that's kind of been my focus. And then I'm looking to do this play with Michael Pressman in 26, 27. So that'll take up some of my time. But I also believe in education. So I do a lot of things with organizations that deal with young women
Mm.
and colleges. So yeah, I sort of spread myself where I can and things that I appreciate doing. Um, you know, so those are the kinds of things I do when I'm not in Chicago and I'm not trying to tear up my apartment.
Well, season 11 of Chicago Med is on now. It's just an exceptional show and many, many more seasons for it to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you.